I'm joined now by contributing writer Jake Fogleman to talk a little bit about some of the biggest stories of the week. In addition to, what happened at SHOT Show, we also saw Dominion Energy, Virginia's biggest power company, was revealed to be much more involved in the funding of a shadowy PAC that tried to suppress gun votes in the Virginia gubernatorial election last year than we first knew. Jake, can you tell us a little more about what we've learned about how Dominion actually funded this group?
Sure, yeah. So the latest FEC reports came out disclosing the donors to all these political action committees. And so we knew before that, Dominion came out and said we donated $200,000 to this PAC, this shadowy PAC, Accountability Virginia. But the latest filings actually show that several individual members of the company's executive leadership, to include their CEO, Robert Blue, their head lobbyist, their general counsel, and even the president of operations in Virginia, all personally donated money to this PAC, which, as you said, was personally running ads in Republican areas of Virginia, basically questioning if Glenn Youngkin could be trusted on guns.
Right, yeah. The shadowy aspect here was that this PAC, which was created in July of 2021, so it hadn't been around before then, was running ads against Glenn Youngkin on the issue of guns, but they were targeting specifically Republican areas of the state, and they were run by essentially a liberal consulting group, and they used Act Blue as their fundraising platform, which is the fundraising platform for Democrats and liberal causes throughout the country. And so there was a lot of questioning about how genuine their concerns over Glenn Youngkin not being endorsed by the NRA or the Virginia Citizens Defense League were, especially since they didn't run ads against, Terry McAuliffe, the Democrat, who, as far as their positions on the gun policy go, like they were very stark. I mean, McAuliffe supported not just banning the sale of AR-15s and other firearms, but confiscating them as well, banning their possession. Whereas Youngkin was opposed to that on the record. And, so on the issue itself, there was a pretty clear distinction, even though Youngkin didn't pursue, and he specifically did not pursue the endorsements of the NRA and VCDL. But there was a lot of sort of underhandedness to what Accountability Virginia was doing. And it was fairly clear that they were simply trying to prevent or suppress the gun vote. They're trying to encourage people not to come out to vote for Glenn Youngkin in these Republican areas because by sort of concern trolling, I guess you could call it, on guns, when it was fairly clear that the group did not have a genuine interest in gun rights. So when it came out that Dominion, the largest power company in Virginia, was behind the funding for this campaign, that caused a lot of backlash, right?
Yeah, BCDL, which is the state gun rights group, launched a big protest campaign, essentially encouraging their members to call Dominion and voice their concerns with the fact that their power company was getting involved in politics in this way. And they also made a big get out the vote effort. And from all data we have, those areas of the state did actually turn out to vote. So the ads sort of backfired in that way. But it also led to the CEO coming out and essentially disavowing the donations to the group. He said that they didn't properly vet the group and that they wanted their money back and they wouldn't donate to these groups anymore in the future.
But you found that there's a wrinkle to that as well, right?
Yeah. So in the FEC filing, the day that he made those comments disavowing the group, shows that a donation was actually made by him personally on that same exact day. And I spoke to experts about when donations show up on these filings, and I was told that it's pretty timely. The donation date is supposed to reflect the date that a donation was made. And I asked Dominion about that, and they told me that, they chalked it up to a lag in the reporting system and said that all donations were made before they spoke out against the company and that they didn't donate after.
So the Center for Responsive Politics, which tracks these sorts of reports for the FEC, they run Open Secrets is the website that the group runs and is one of the top sources for information on election spending like this, they said that the report is supposed to reflect the actual date that the money was given, whereas Dominion claims that the reason it shows up as the CEO donating the day that they disavowed the company was actually because of reporting delays or whatever. So obviously we don't have a definitive answer on that, but people can decide for themselves who they believe in that situation. It's certainly interesting. I mean, I assume either way that those donations came very close to when he made those comments disavowing the company and saying that they didn't know what was going on, which I think most people will be pretty skeptical of that claim regardless, because Dominion was the top funder for this group, right?
Yeah, the company itself donated $250,000, and then the members of its top executives donated close to $30,000 just amongst themselves with personal donations, which is by far and away the top amount.
And so I guess either they're kind of fools who didn't understand what they were giving all this money to do, or they're perhaps not telling the truth about how much they understood about what this operation was going to use their money for. I think this was seen by many as a way for Dominion to support Terry McAuliffe in the race without directly giving him money, which is a common thing you see in politics, but something that I think a lot of people don't really like to be misled in that way. So, it's interesting. And obviously it ultimately failed and created a lot of bad publicity for Dominion, which, I'm sure they're still not very happy about.